What is going on, Panther Lair? We are back talking about the Pittsburgh Panthers' road loss to the North Carolina Tar Heels this past Saturday. Now, I want to talk about why the switching defense was not nearly as effective this time around as it was a few weeks ago, where Pitt switched pretty much everything in the second half against North Carolina, and they were rather successful doing it. Now, a couple notes here is the things that I really point out and keys to why that worked in the prior game was that, number one, Cam Corrin or whoever switched onto the ball handler had to do a good job holding up in the perimeter. And number two, the guards that tended to switch onto Van Allen Lubin particularly, or whoever in the post, had to also hold up pretty well. So those things were pretty much my keys as to why this worked last time. It's one of the reasons it did not work this time. So we're going to dive into 5 sequences here, but 2 are going to be from the prior game just to remind us why this was successful. You're going to see Corrin is going to switch on here to Elliot Godot. Now, a lot of things too is North Carolina spent some time trying to attack Corrin off the dribble. And this time around, they did not settle for that. They definitely just tried to find ways to get Lubin a layup as opposed to trying to go at Corrin, as it wasn't as successful. He did a really good job. Okay, so here you go. Godot over dribbles, loses his handle. Dunn, who was fronting the post there, you may have noted, ends up causing, I believe, a jump ball. So we go into another sequence here. This time, Godot much more likely to cook Guillermo Diaz-Graham, but still doesn't go quite out. And you're going to see, again, Lowe is going to try to front the post here, and then Pitt is going to have Damian Dunn here on the back side to also provide help. So ideally, this is what Pitt is trying to do. They're trying to front the post, and they're going to try to have somebody on the weak side low position here help from behind. That's pretty much what they try to do in these situations. See, they try to create a different angle for post entry. And Dunn comes over here and he kind of bumps Jalen Lowe back over. He's like, hey, I got this. Why don't you bump over here to the weak side corner and pick up Seth Trimble. Dunn's a little bit bigger. Obviously, he's going to have a more size advantage. The skip pass doesn't end up doing anything. Trimble misses the floater. So here we go to the game on Saturday. You're going to see Corrin is going to switch on to R.J. Davis. Again, I think Corrin did a pretty good job in this regard, but North Carolina much more committed to finding a way to get Lubin the ball against these mismatches. So you see, Ish Leggett is trying to fight in front here to get some type of post position. Hey, I'm going to front the post, and then I have Zach Austin behind me. So this works because he's going to make a really high entry pass over the top. Zach Austin can either break that up or he's going to block the shot. This is exactly what Pitt wants in this situation, more or less, from a defensive standpoint. Also, Lubin is pretty far out of the paint, both feet out of the paint here. You remember early in the game, a couple weeks ago, he caught a pass right here, had to dribble into the paint with his left hand, end up like airballing that. So this is pretty much what Pitt wants, pushing him out of the paint, not allowing him to catch the ball cleanly with Zach Austin behind. So advantage Pitt at the moment. But what North Carolina did to adjust to this is they would just flash a guy right here to the middle of the paint. This time it's going to be Elliot Cadeau, a very good passer. So he's going to flash in. Now what this does is this forces Zach Austin to go back out towards Seth Trimble, right? He can no longer commit that much help into Van Allen Lubin here. So he's like, okay, I got to go back out. And then now because of the repositioning, Lubin is able to get on the front side of Leggett and not be fronted the way that he was previously. And you're going to see now that he has a foot in the paint, this finishing angle is going to be catch, turn, and make a layup. And that's much different than him having the dribble previously. Austin out of the picture. So see again, Corrin switches on to Davis. Should be a good advantage. You see Leggett, no time to fight. So now again, Leggett is going to try to front this post. But you see as Davis starts dribbling out here across the paint to this side, right? So what becomes like the strong side to the new strong side here, and Trimble moves. Austin has to move with Trimble. He cannot commit to helping back here on Lubin. And so it's all about kind of clearing out the help defender in this situation. Davis does a good job, creates a nice angle to make this pass against a post-fronted defense, and then there's just no one behind here to stop Lubin, who doesn't have the dribble, and again makes the basket. And here we go, one more example. So you're going to see Corrin here switching on to Cadeau. This is going to be probably a win. Lowe is going to try to front the post here. And then look, Damian Dunn already in position to come over and say, hey, I'm going to help on the backside if you try to make this post entry over the top of Lowe. But instead, Ian Jackson flashes into that same space that North Carolina was using to force Dunn to not be in a position to help here. So Jackson flashes in. Dunn has to divert his attention. So now Dunn has to obviously guard Jackson here. So he cannot help over the top. And then Jackson, now he makes the post entry over Lowe with no help coming and makes the basket. Now, I think one of the challenges here is that Pitt kind of waited a while to make adjustments. Obviously, this is less than 5 minutes into the game. Clearly that tactic worked before. I'm sure they would have thought North Carolina would spend some time adjusting to it. Not sure if they would have thought that was the adjustment necessarily, but a really good job by North Carolina, honestly, adjusting, just making sure that, hey, if they're going to front the post, what we're going to do is we're going to take that backside help defender away, and then we're going to create finishing angles for Lubin where he doesn't have to put the ball on the floor. Again, I thought Corin did a really good job holding up on the perimeter. No issues there. I don't even remember one of the Diaz-Graham twins even kind of getting cooked out there, so that wasn't really the problem as much. Just really good adjustment by North Carolina. You could argue how long it should have taken Pitt to make an adjustment themselves.